And today I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Tom Jensen of SI, who covers the Niners for SI. Tom, what's going on?
How's it going, Dre? Interesting time with the combine going on.
I know. And you know what? We talked about this last night, but there really is no live stream of John Lynch's press conference. I even saw
Right.
Jose Sanchez saying, "This is garbage. How come we can't watch it live?" I don't know, but
Right.
here's the good
That's on
thing,
the
though.
Niners. They should take care of that. And
They
don't.
should. I mean, if
Yeah.
you want your fans to be fully immersed in whatever you're doing, you think, hey, let's make sure we stream that to all the fans. You know, let's get everyone involved.
Right.
But it is
Right.
what it is. But first of all, Tom, I hope you're having a great week.
Doing okay. How about
Doing
you?
okay. I'm doing great. I'm doing better now because usually I go into a lull and then I do my show and then I feel a lot better, going into the rest of the
Yeah.
week. So this is like my highlight of the week. So I'm really happy about that. I'm hoping to go live again later this week too, either Thursday or Friday. But speaking of John Lynch, we know that he's on the podium right now talking to the media, and we do have some updates that I wanted to share with you from John Lynch's press conference at the NFL Combine. The first one is here. He writes, can you even see that? Jeez, let me zoom in a little bit on that. There we go. He writes here, John Lynch is on Trent Williams' future. He says Trent is playing, Trent is ready, he's motivated. Very short, but okay, which means that obviously he's going to be there next season, which we kind of already assumed, but it's good to hear it from John Lynch himself. He also mentioned this, that John Lynch says that the organization has started contract extension conversations with Brock Purdy and his representatives. That's courtesy of Matt Barrows. Again, something that we had heard about earlier this week. Now, we talked about this last time you were on the show. This could be a case where they want to get this done early, similar to what we talked about with Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, we've gone past the Jimmy G, time scale. But do you think this will get done sooner rather than later?
I think that they need to wait. Grant reported on this from Indy this morning that the word at the combine is they want to wait to see what the market is going to set at. So they want to see what happens with Sam Darnold, what happens with Matthew Stafford, where their money comes in, then calibrates what they can offer to Brock. They want the market to set first, then make an offer. In terms of you need to get it done before free agency begins, not really, because you can project what he's going to be.
And I get what Tom is saying as well, that you want to wait and see how the market shakes out. But to me, I kind of feel like you want to get ahead of that, because what if Sam Darnold all of a sudden garners this big contract that I don't think he fully deserves? But of course, it's not really what he deserves. It's what the market dictates. But for me, I would say, hey, look, we know that his contract's going to be somewhere around 50 to 55 million, starting there most likely. And so even if Sam Darnold got a contract around 40 to 45 million, I don't think that's really comparable to what Brock Purdy has done. And Tom, you were saying.
Well, with Darnold, that would be the floor. And with Stafford, it would be, that's about where you want to be. Is you could make the argument that Brock being younger is more valuable in the marketplace than Stafford, but that sets a point where you would say that give or take 5 million, what Stafford gets is what Brock should get.
Right. And at the same time, Stafford, he's at the end of his career. He probably has 1 or 2 years left. He even contemplated on retiring at the end of this past season, even though, honestly, I feel like the only reason why the Rams were relevant and even in the playoffs was because of Matthew Stafford.
Right.
He really carried that team.
Especially that and their defensive line is that,
and Jared Verse and all those guys. Right. Those guys really came together. But having a competent, capable quarterback with that experience really helped them offensively as well. We also got this out of, what is this? We also got this from John Lynch as well. It's another short snippet that CMC is doing great, doing really well, and is expected to be ready for at least parts of the offseason program. We've also heard comments too that, obviously CMC from George Kittle, that we're going to be getting the best out of CMC because now he's angry and he wants to kind of redeem himself after having that really horrible year last year with injuries, coming back, not being his true self, and then getting hurt again. Do you think that CMC is due for a big rebound year going into the season?
I think he will be quite good initially, but then it's a question of how does he hold up? Mm-hmm. It's one thing to say, well, I'm fully healed, I'm fully recovered. Yeah, you haven't played. once you start playing, then how well does your body respond to that? That's my concern going in, is that CMC can be great to start the year, and then he gets hurt, then what? So
Yeah.
I'm worried about just what the contact's going to be. He's at an age and a mileage where injuries are going to hit, and there's nothing you can do about it. And just the Niners need to be prepared for that. And given that this draft is loaded at running back, I would expect to see that they're going to make a pick in the second, third, fourth, somewhere in there to get one of the running backs in this draft.
Well, that's a question too, is that do you think that they're going to invest in the running back, which you said that they probably will, in the draft, or do you think that they try and bring back a Jordan Mason to be the number 2 running back behind Christian McCaffrey? Because we saw how durable he could be, obviously bearing injury, but for the first part of the season, he was one of the league's leading rushers. So do you think that's a guy that they should invest and try to bring back, or do you think they're going to move on from him?
I think they could end up doing both. They'll look at Mason as one of the cogs of the machine at running back and draft running back, because this running back class is so good. You look at somebody like Trevion Henderson, that's the ideal Kyle Shanahan back. It's exactly what he wants. And on top of that, he never fumbles. No lost fumbles in Columbus. He did fumble, but his team recovered it. So you look at a back like that, and several other backs in this draft, I think that Kyle is not going to be able to help himself. He's going to take one. Whether they keep Mason as well, I think they could. The key with Mason is, can they get something in trade for him? They would need to make a second round tender offer in order to then trade him, since he's an RFA, restricted free agent.
Right.
But then they could look to deal him, but I wouldn't put it past them to say that we're going to do both. We're going to keep Jordan Mason, and we're going to draft a back.
Yeah, I mean, I would like for them to bring him back, but I could see another team looking at Jordan Mason saying, hey, you know what? This guy has the potential to be something really big. But is he a guy that you invest money into and say, hey, we're going to make you our number 1? I don't know if he is. I still think that if another team were to make him a contract offer and then the Niners didn't match it, I don't know if he's the guy that another team would say, okay, you're going to be our number 1 and we trust you. I feel like he's still a guy that would be a number 2 or would be a part-time 1 and 2, on a different team, because he has to show that he can last the entire season. The multiple injuries that he suffered this past season really hurt his value. Can you imagine if he never got hurt this season? Oh my gosh, he'd be gone. I'd be like, oh yeah, he's not going to come back. He's out. He's totally out. But
as a restricted free agent, they keep his rights regardless.
Yeah.
He could not sign and they would still hold his rights. So it's a different deal because of that. And I think that Mason can have value to another team that wants to pair him as the power guy with the speed guy. That's happening around the league with Thunder and Lightning. So that's possible. But with the running back class this deep, it's going to be hard. If they want to trade Mason, a lot of teams are going to say we'd rather draft one.
Yeah.
So it's going to be difficult. And I think that as a result, Mason stays with the Niners, but they do re-sign him.
And, Kyle has had a history of drafting running backs. Obviously, he drafted Elijah Mitchell. He drafted Trey Sermon. Some of these guys, what's his name? Price. I was going to call him Price Jackson Davis. That's not it. That's Trey Sex. Yeah. They drafted him. And some of these guys didn't really work out, but not every running back does work out. But I agree with you. I do think that they're going to take a running back somewhere in this draft because they need to kind of deepen that. And plus, I don't think Elijah Mitchell's going to come back. It wouldn't surprise me if they brought him back, but I don't think you can go McCaffrey, Mitchell, and Mason again. I think you could bring back Mason or you can bring back Mitchell, but either way, you're going to be drafting somebody. I don't think both come back.
I think they let Mitchell go.
Yeah, and he was good when we had him. A lot of injuries, but he was serviceable. I mean, he scored that big touchdown against the Lions when McCaffrey had to come out. So much love to Elijah Mitchell. So thank you for watching this video. If you want more of this content, then check out some of these recommended videos right here on your screen. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by going to my website, which is nicotina.net, and there are memberships available under DreArea Sports.